Today, I'm pulling back the curtain on something totally new, my one woman show. And while if you've been listening, this isn't totally new, but I am pulling back the curtain because I want to share one, I want to share my journey with you as I go through it on in different episodes of this podcast. But I also wanted to share how it's unexpectedly giving me more energy and happiness. So even though I'm feeling like, oh, it's a bit of a stretch and honestly a little bit scary, it's also recharging me in a way that no other business strategy ever could. So, this episode is for you if you've been feeling drained, flat, or a little uninspired. And I'm talking today about behind the curtain, how I'm gaining energy through alignment and resonance. And I'm going to talk about those things, but I wanted to call it energy because you're probably not going to know the word resonance. You probably understand the word alignment, but I'm pulling back the curtain because I don't always like fully share how I'm changing in the moment. I do it more like later on as a reflective episode or a reflective experience sharing with you. But I know that there are a lot of people out there right now feeling drained and feeling tired and feeling flat and feeling like friction in a life. And so to gain that back, this episode isn't one around time management or self-care, because what I've discovered is that true energy doesn't just come from rest. It comes from deep alignment, expression, and this coaching term, resonance. Resonance meaning to be in energy. So today I'm going to talk about, why resonance is really the real fuel for me, for you, some science behind alignment and well-being, how you can bring in or what things can happen for you when you bring in more resonance, and just like some things that could stop you from having resonance. And just a side note, I have started a Facebook group called Behind the Curtain with Diane Rolston. And what this is, it's a free group. You can jump in and I'm going to share more of these, like the tidbits, the actual like nuts and bolts of me doing it. Plus, I'm going to be sharing with you in that group any other, things that come up. And I might even come to you for as like a board of directors almost and ask you questions that I'm like, maybe not sure. Should I do this or should I do this? And you're going to get other secrets and tips and back behind the curtain things. And you'll be the first to know of when the preview of the show, the one woman show, is going to happen. So let me dive in. So as you know, I've been writing my one woman show, and I've been realizing that I can be in moments where I'm kind of feeling like I'm in a slump, right? There's like some tasks I have to do that I don't want to do that I can't even delegate to my virtual assistants. There is maybe some other things, and I'm just not finding the same joy or happiness or energy in my schedule. And so when I do things that are more aligned to what I'm currently needing or more aligned to my values, then it gives me the energy. It's this like lightness, this bouncy feeling, and it helps me to really stay true to who I am, or in this moment, who I feel called to be and what I feel called to say. So when you do what resonates with you, right? Something that is in alignment with you, that honors your values, you're gonna feel an energy, an ease, a flow, which is so nice. And it's about choosing to do these things, not just what impresses people, not just what you should do, not just what pleases others, and definitely not things that dishonor your values. But when you actually do the things that are in alignment for you, your energy doesn't just grow, doesn't just show up, it like multiplies. So, this big idea of resonance as real fuel, I was in the middle of a coaching, not a coaching, counseling session, doing some counseling just to kind of clear out, process some old emotions that are just kind of hanging around a little bit. Things around my dad's death, kind of some of the trauma that I incurred over the years, just some other kind of other things. You know how it is. You kind of you just keep going, you push things down and you're like, I'll deal with that later, or you think you've dealt with it, but there's still some inkling kind of things towards it. But anyway, I'm in the middle of a counseling session. I'm kind of feeling down about some health stuff recently. And then I started talking about this one woman show and I got animated. And so these are all ways you know you're in resonance and you know that you're feeling that alignment. So I am talking more with my hands like I am right now. I'm excited. I'm feeling light. I'm using positive, really energy evoking words. And that's when I realized I'm like, wow, I'm in resonance right now. My counselor is like, whoa, that was a shift. And and this was that realization of like, wow, I need to be more in this. Like I'm in the right place and it's good for me, right? Because true energy doesn't come from just like doing more, because we can always do more. We can always add in more to our schedules. Please don't do that. Don't want you to do it. But it comes from doing what's in alignment with your values, your purpose, your joy. If you're like, oh, my values, like don't steal, like we're not getting into morals, but values. If you're like, I don't know what my values are, please send me an email. We can do a quick session. Email me, Diane at dianerolston.com. I can do a values session for you where you can find your values and then you can see if you're honoring or dishonoring them. And then we can put a plan in place so that you can feel this kind of energy all the time. Because resonance is that feeling of like, ah, this fits. This is me. This is where I'm supposed to be. And so when your actions are starting to match your values, you create an energy, right? It's kind of like if we threw kerosene on a fire, it just goes right in a good way, of like a powerful way, rather than if we poured water on fire, taking away the power, taking away the energy, feeling draining. So dissonance is the opposite of resonance. Dissonance is that like it's hard. It's like you're pushing a rock up a hill. There's friction. It's draining and you dread it and maybe even avoid it. So when you're doing that, something that deeply matters to you, like my creative work on this one woman show, I can work for hours on it and I still feel alive. And maybe you felt that way. You're like, oh, I'm so passionate about cooking. And when I cook, I can just cook all day. Or I love graphic design. And when I do it, I can do it for hours and hours. And I don't even realize I haven't eaten or gone to the bathroom or whatever it may be because I'm just so in the flow. And when you're out of alignment, even the smallest task feels heavy. And the worst part of this is you start like trying to get yourself to do more, do it better, and that something's wrong with you. But really, it's just you're not in alignment and you're out of resonance. So there is some science around alignment and well-being. I've noticed this in my clients, but basically, studies are showing that when you live in this alignment with your core values, that you're going to experience some really great benefits. Things that we all want, right? Higher motivation, stronger emotional resilience, and the energy piece, 20% more daily energy. And I know that when I've been talking about this to people and they say, oh, what's new? And I'm like, oh, I'm running a one woman show. Like I get giddy and it's exciting. It's kind of like, I'm like, oh, I'm going on vacation. Like that same vibe happens. And alignment isn't a mindset trick, right? Something when you're like, I'm going to say 10 affirmations and then I'm going to be motivated or then it's going to happen for me. It's not, it's actually biological. So when your actions match your purpose, the cool thing is your nervous system relaxes, your creativity increases, and you start to restore energy while doing the work. And if you're in dissonance, then the energy is being drained from you, and it's hard and it's negative, and you dread it, and your nervous system is going to get tense. And if you're like, well, I don't know what an example of that would be. What if I said something like, you need to wait in a really long lineup to pay a bill? You go, ugh. Or maybe it's something for you, except my tax professionals, and maybe you're like, oh, I have to work on taxes. So there's different things that you're like, oh, not in alignment, not what I want to be doing, not good for me. And so when we look at the benefits of this resonance piece, I've already mentioned like a ton of them, but Obviously it's the more energy, right? Because you're going to stop forcing yourself to do it and it's going to start fueling you. Now, that doesn't mean I naturally wake up in the morning and want to write my one woman show 8 hours for the day. I still have to have a writing class, I have a writing coach, but when I'm in it, I'm excited. Like when I got off my writing class on Monday night, I came downstairs. I already had a full day. I already coached a bunch of clients, had meetings, had all this like pre-made dinner because my writing class was between 4 and 6. And I get off and I'm gonna eat finally. And my husband says, "How was it?" And I was like, it was so great. It was so great. And if this isn't something that you want to do, then the idea of writing in a class for a one-woman show or a one-man show, not great for you. So more energy, more drive, right? The purpose in what you're doing, it starts to become a motivator instead of pressure of you have to do this thing. You don't want to have that. You want that drive to be natural, a natural motivator for you. And you probably understand that when you're like, "Oh, I want to do this on my list because this is the fun piece." And then because you have more energy and more drive, another piece that comes up is more happiness, right? You start to feel more content even while working hard. So even though was at the end of a busy day, when I've already given in many ways through like emotional labor, I still felt good because I was doing what felt right and just more ease. I was talking before about dissonance feeling like friction and like sandpaper and like pushing a rock up a hill. When you're in, that was dissonance. When you're in resonance, you're going to move throughout your day without second guessing or overthinking. Things are congruent. It's easy to be motivated. It's easy to get working on things and to move projects forward. So this is what I've been experiencing as I write my show. Yes, are some hard times, and it's not easy work because I am not inherently a writer. I also don't know how to write scripts, and so I'm learning how to write dialogue. And my coach keeps saying, my writing coach keeps saying, "Okay, Diane, you just wrote like a speech. You just wrote a monologue, but now we have to bring it to the stage." And so I'm having to learn and I'm having to like rewire my brain into how this comes together. But this kind of fulfillment is creating energy. So rather than me feeling like, oh, I have such a learning gap here, I'm like a sponge. And you felt that way too before, right? When you're learning something new and you're excited and you're like, I just want to gobble up everything around it. So it creates energy, and then you can kind of take on things that maybe feel a little bit harder. So why would I then say, why does alignment feel hard? Hmm. Well, it's not always easy to be able to say yes to things, right? And so in your business or in your life, there are things that create resonance and there are things that create dissonance. And maybe you have a 9 to 5 or you have a job that is different from your hobbies or your passions or the things you really want to do. And so for you to say, like for me to say to someone, I'm just going to go write a show and I'm going to pay to have a coach to do that and all this other stuff, when really maybe I need to be building a business, or maybe for you, it's like working that 9 to 5 or taking care of your kids or aging parents or pets or whatever it may be. It is like going against what society thinks. And I've had clients say to me, Diane, I don't want a promotion. I don't want to build my business. Like, is it wrong that I just want to be at home and make crafts with my kids and feed them grilled cheese sandwiches? I'm like, no, no. All the tasks we do, all the ways we choose to spend our time and the goals we have for our lives do not have to be what society deems as success, right? We can't just say yes to things that don't match our values, but we do it. And why do we do it? To keep the peace, to keep up with the Joneses, because we feel we should, because others around us are doing it, or because maybe that's been built in. So maybe we're doing our own business, but we're part of a company and it's like competition. Who can like push themselves and who can get further faster for awards or bonuses or whatever it may be. And a lot of times we'll stay in obligations that no longer fit our growth. I can remember being part of a networking group with some really amazing people. And what I found over time, based on guests being invited and joining, was probably 60-70% of the people there were serving the senior market. Huh. So senior retirement services, home support, like equipment. It just went on and on, all these people that were in the group that served seniors. And one of my business advisors at the time said, like, where are you networking? And I said, and he says, well, is this one serving your business? And I was like, well, no, like maybe not really, but they're good people. And he said, well, how often are you seeing your friends? And I was like, right. I said, but I help run the group. And he said, yeah, but you don't need to stay in a group that no longer serves you. So don't stay in obligations that don't fit your growth. And the last piece is confusing productivity with purpose. So we're doing more, we're doing no more, but we're feeling less. We're in less resonance, less energy, and have less motivation. So as overachieving women, and I've done this, I'm guilty, guilty as charged. We can often override our inner signals, the ones that are saying, this is great, don't do this, will oftentimes override these inner signals of like, I'd love to do this would feel great. And we say yes to the things that don't. And other times we push through. So we push through in doing tasks, saying yes to something, being involved in something, even when something feels off, right? You get that intuitive hit that you're like, oh, I don't think I'm supposed to do this. But you just go ahead because you're being asked or because you think that's the next step. But key thing here, your body, your energy always tells the truth when you're out of alignment. Have you ever been invited somewhere or to do something and you hesitated to say yes? That's you saying you don't want to go, right? Do you want to come to this event? You look at it and you're like, meh. If you wanted to go, your energy would be like, yes, yes. And so back to the one woman show, I was speaking to a theater about their community or artists kind of hub program that they have. And at first, I was like, I don't know if I want to do this. Is it too much work, too much commitment? Hmm. Am I already like so far in my business that I'd be around maybe younger people or newer people to putting on something? I don't know, right? But when I spoke and I said, I'm just going to speak to the organizer, I'm just going to speak to her and talk about it. I got off that call. I was so excited. I was like, who can I tell? Who can I tell about this? And so I knew that was a yes. I needed to join this. But if it's not, and you hesitate, or you start to feel exhausted or irritated or lack of motivation, it's not in alignment. It is not something you should do. And when you're in a misalignment, when you're in dissonance, it doesn't just drain the energy that I've been talking about, but it dulls your joy, right? And so I've seen clients kind of come to me and it seems like their life and them, they're like living in black and white. But when you can live in alignment, in resonance, it's like your color comes back and you're living life in color. If you've ever seen the start of The Wizard of Oz, the old version, when everything's in black and white, and then all of a sudden it comes to color, it's that moment, right? And a lot of times, high achieving women, successful women will just start to work harder when they feel unhappy or that something's missing. But they get to that point where they just feel emptier and more tired. And then you get to a point where you're like, I don't even know. I don't even know why I started this. I don't have clarity on where I'm going. And like slowly you start living a version of success that only looks good on paper, but doesn't feel good inside. That's why I had to leave corporate. My life looks so good on paper, and that's why I held on to it for so long. And that's why I was super confused. But I was measuring life according to success. I wasn't measuring my life according to satisfaction or even giving satisfaction, resonance, alignment, any space in my life because I didn't know about it. So here's your alignment check. Couple of questions for you to just to see like where you are. Dissonance, resonance, you have energy, you don't. So what in your life or your business feels off right now? What feels off? What doesn't feel like it's good? Next question. What used to energize you, but now it feels heavy? And so I could look at that networking group I was a part of. It used to energize me. And then I was like, yeah, maybe it's not a fit anymore. Or what decision, what project, what direction feels true, even if it scares you a little. So for me, I kept having these things in place or things showing up for me that were like pushing me towards theater, pushing me towards a one-woman show. And I was like, oh, but I do speaker keynotes or I do these other things. And that's another yet another thing. But in business, I wouldn't have started Virtual Assistant Made Easy if it wasn't for me hearing, feeling these little prompts to move forward, right? That little voice, your alignment, the resonance, the energy, that's a compass for where you should go. You don't have to have it all figured out. Just take the next step. Because really, the more you listen to it, the more natural energy and joy you're going to create, even if it's just, I'd like to paint a picture. I want to organize my closets. And those things for you bring you joy, happiness, resonance. Amazing. Go do it. Because when you honor what resonates in your life, in your work, things are just going to feel easy, not a grind, right? There's that flow that happens. So before I wrap up, I mentioned before about the behind the curtain. Behind the curtain, it's a Facebook group, free to join. Link will be in the show notes. I'm not, there's no commitment to really do anything, but if you're going to be part of it, I'd love it if you would engage and be like part of the community. It's going to be super fun. I'll have some surprises and such. And if you want to explore this, for those of you who are like, whoa, I need to have a conversation with Diane, email me, diane@dianerolston.com. Let's talk about getting you into more resonance. And if you have like a few questions you want to run by me, you want to pick my brain, I'm doing a mastermind Q&A session on November 14th from 9 to 11 Pacific, PST. And so we'll put that in the show notes as well, and you can join me for that. And it's gonna be cool because it's a mastermind way that you're gonna ask, I'm gonna answer, but also maybe some of the other ladies in the group will be able to answer you as well. So in closing here, I've learned that energy, it's not something that you chase, that you schedule. It's something that just kind of comes to be. It's cultivated, it's birthed, and it grows through alignment, being in resonance. So the more you live, the more you work, and the more you create in resonance with your truth, the more energy and fulfillment you are going to have, not only in your own life, but you'll have to lead others. And that is really kind of the bonus piece of that. So that's how I'm gaining energy right now, writing my one woman show. I just got accepted to the artists program at a local theater. And I'm so pumped. I'm putting in the next socials for that. So I'm doing something that is in resonance and giving me energy, but also something that scares me a little, stretches me a little, but at the end of the day, feels so deeply aligned. And I want the same for you. Until next time, stay dynamic. Bye.